Hello friends at Morgan State. This is Dr. Duello again with a talk on preparation to write the personal statement for graduate school. Now, why didn't I not just say, okay, this is how you write it? Because you need to prepare first. The elevator speech was very important in and of itself, but it was also preparation for writing the essay. The curriculum vitae, definitely preparation for writing the essay, to focus on what you've done, how you want to say it. I always say if you can't do the short version well, then the long version is going to be difficult. Just so that you know, Drs. Homan and Brown indicated at me from the outset that they want to move very quickly through this first part to get down to drafting the essay and working on the essay. So everyone should have their elevator speech to me. Everyone should have their CV to me. If you do not, I trust Dr. Brown's in touch with you. Please catch up on those things this week. So I want to say a few things before you jump into this essay, because as I say, it is different than anything you've written before. So this is not an essay for summer camp. It's not specifically for a creative writing course, though if you're a creative writer, fantastic. It's not all scientific writing, but some portions of it are when you're talking about the research. The most common problem that I see with students is they've been told, well, just tell a story. But this is not how you wrote in grade school. And actually, I've been helping students write for 30 some years. And one of the things that I see is a lot of students in your situation are actually using the same formula that they used in middle school. So when you were in middle school, they told you write a story, they told you to select a theme, one theme, and they told you that it had an introduction, a body, and a conclusion. And I still see students writing exactly like that. Not more sophisticated than when they wrote the essay that got them into college. So there's going to be a lot of detail here. One, the personal statements for graduate school are different than the personal statements for the health profession. So specifically the MD, PhD. So it's not one approach for everything. Also, when you're writing these statements, they're going to differ depending upon what you seek to do. Whether you're looking for a program with a master's without thesis, which I never recommend in science, a master's with thesis, or a PhD. It's going to differ by discipline. You're all, I believe, primarily engineering, biological or physical scientists, and that, but definitely whether it's the humanities, basic science, clinical science, whatever, they're going to differ some in what you expect there. So just to get this out of the way, let's first talk about how important is this essay? How much does it quote-unquote count? This is what students ask me, as if there's a point system. How many points is the essay worth? And, you know, is it really that important? Well, it is. I can tell you it's a great deal of hard work to sit on an admissions committee, especially when you've got two people and you can only offer one more person admission and they're very similar. So there are going to be other applicants with your grades. There are going to be other applicants that with your GRE scores. There are going to be other applicants who've had great research and medical experiences, already cured cancer, okay? And there are going to be many people with great letters of recommendation. So it's very hard to sort out whether one student has better prospects for success than another one. It's very difficult. So what I come to at the bottom of this slide is that the personal statement is incredibly important. It's your remaining opportunity to shine and show your unique virtues, okay? And what we're going to do in this next couple slides is I'm going to be talking to you about how to do an outline to how to begin. And you're going to write the outline, and then I'm going to come behind that with more information. But one thing first is that if you think really well and you write really well, we know you think well. But if you think well and you don't write well, then we don't know it. And I can tell you that across the United States, I help all kinds of students everywhere here. So across the United States, I see about 50% of the students who have all of the components. They have everything they need to get into graduate school, but they do not know how to write. They do not know how to sell themselves, which is what you're doing. And the thing about this kind of writing is we're scientists, we're looking at it. You give us the data, we draw the conclusion. You don't give us the conclusion, okay? Because you can't just tell us, you have to show us, is what it comes down to. So the very first thing, what are you going to write about? And don't just sit down and open a document and start writing and think, well, I'll delete what I don't need. This is very ineffective. It's not going to work well for you in the future, especially when you get down to writing for scholarships, fellowships, grants, whatever. So the first thing to do is to get organized. And to help you get organized, I had you do a polished CV or a hybrid. Okay? And those of you who have sent that in, thank you very much, appreciate it, have actually followed directions, followed the template, and have something very professional looking like a professor would have. So now that we have the hot polished CV or hybrid, what we want to do is write an outline for the essay. And some of you will say you don't use an outline at all. Some will say, well, I kind of have notes about things that I want to include, but I want to get a little more rigid actually about that. So what's going to happen here is any outline is going to have an introduction. The introductions can vary every which way, however you want to introduce it. You may be somebody who says that you first got interested in science on the playground studying anthills. You may be somebody who it only came to you in your sophomore year, whatever. This is a great place to say something about what led you, what your motivation towards conducting research. So you're going to have an introduction, highly variable. What I say here, next I have educational background, motivation for research. And you may actually wrap these together in the introduction. Like I say, the introduction may be about your motivation for research. Educational background, they're going to have your transcript, they're going to have all your information. This isn't, I went to this school, and then I went to this school, and then I went to this school. It's a place to name drop and basically brag. So you're at Morgan State University and you've been honored to be a scholar in the MARC program. You've pursued this degree, you've had great opportunities to do research. Now, next, number 3 here is research experiences. And if you want to get into graduate school, talking about these and talk about them well is going to be critically important. This is not a checkoff list. Oh, I did research here, and then I did research here, and then I did research here. It's going to be the same formula you had in the elevator speech. Who you worked with, where at, what did you find, what did you do, what did you find, and why it is important. You may find out if you've done 3 or 4, some students make the mistake of putting 3 lines about 4 things and they end up not saying anything convincing about any of the 4. So if you come to issues like that, I'm going to come back and say, I've been fortunate to have multiple experiences, only 2 of which I'll discuss here. Now you discuss those 2 very well, and the reader knows that there's 2 more, and you can be sure those are going to be questions in the interview. So as you become a more sophisticated writer and a speaker, what you learn is you can basically speak in a way that plants the questions you want to be asked. Takes a whole lot of stress out of situations. Now I have relevant extracurricular activities, okay? Most of you won't put in anything at all here. This is not where you were in choir and you worked with Habitat for Humanity. Pick the extracurricular activities that were science related, honors biology. We do not, like when you're going into undergrad, think, oh, we want a quote-unquote leadership paragraph. We expect that you're all leaders at this point. So if you're going to write about extracurricular activities, write about them pick the ones and write about them in a way that's relevant to your goal here. Now, the last three categories is where students oftentimes have difficulty. What you're going to want to do here is to have done sufficient research into the program that you can talk intelligently. If you just write something so generic that you end with, and this is why I want to go to your school, we know you didn't do your homework. You don't know what we're famous for. You don't know who our faculty are. We think this is a form letter. Okay? So in the last paragraph or two, probably the last one, you're going to put something about why this program and you are a great match. You know, given the reputation of the University of Wisconsin-Madison in biological science, da-da-da-da-da. You want to indicate those whose work you're interested in. This is not a contract. You do not have to absolutely know, okay? But you say, given I'm particularly interested in the work of Doctors Schuler, Smith, and Jones on breast cancer, but you may leave it wide open that there is so much that I am interested in. You know, there's many possibilities. If there's only one person on that campus that you think you can work with, and you say, I only want to work with them, and that person is not taking new students, then you're not really going to be considered. And realize that everything you most want to do in life does not have to be completed in graduate school. You're going to graduate school to get the absolute best training and the best credentials you can, because after you get that degree, you get to study whatever you want for the rest of your life, okay? And a great concluding paragraph here. You can just say, this is why I want in. I want you to think better. This is why I want to get through. I want you to think further. So think it just in general. You don't have to state it this way, but think about, where do you want to be 5 years out? If you want to head the Center for Disease Control, tell me. I love big thinkers. Where are you going to go with this? Okay? If you want to go into academia and you say that you would also like to have something comparable to a MARC program to train the next generation, that you want to mentor students and role model, that you want to give presentations in the community about what scientists can do. This is where, you know, add your passion for research with your other passions, your academic or passions. If you want to go into industry, we'll talk about that when you get there. You're talking to academics, so we'll probably, you know, word that you're considering both academics and industry, whatever. It's not a contract, okay? It's just an essay. So if I have not seen your elevator speech, I need that ASAP. I absolutely need your CV to be edited before you begin this. I would like you to send a draft of your outline by Friday, August 22nd, this coming Friday. And I'm attaching another document that basically has the categories in the outline with questions or statements to help you think about that. Do not try to write yet. Just talk about the outline. Think about what you want to include, okay? So thank you very much. Good luck with this. You can email me. You get stumped, you can email me at any time. If email isn't your best method to communicate, we'll arrange to either talk or Skype, okay? But as I say, Doctors Holman and Brown want you to get through this very quickly and move on to the essay. And you may be sitting here thinking, oh, I've got all fall. You do not want to wait until the last minute to apply. And you can say, well, but the programs I checked into don't have rolling admissions. So you think, okay, I'll just apply by the deadline. But I'll tell you from sitting on an admissions committee that even if we don't have rolling admissions, you know, we just pick whoever we want like along the way, we are going to see, oh, here, you know, is an application from this student, and boy, I'm going to remember them. And you're in their mind, excuse me, you remain kind of at the top of the list, and you're the person that needs to be, that is everybody else is compared to. They know they want to keep a slot for you. So applying earlier, there definitely is a rationale. Don't wait until the last minute. I can't tell you how many students have come to SOCNAS or ABR CMS and I say, where are you thinking about applying? They're juniors or seniors and they say, I've come to this conference to decide. You want to be thinking about it way before that, okay? Work on this outline. I'm going to come back. It's intentional and give you a lot more information after you get this outline done and strategies for writing it. Okay? All the best.